Good morning, everyone. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in hugs and high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. Thank you.
The Creative Morning team, as displayed here, is Layal, Sarah, Noura, Fatma, Sarah, Ala, me, Lina, Noura, Al-Johara, Al-Anud, Ahmed, and Firas. So thank you to all of them. Without them, these mornings would not be here. Also, a huge thank you for the people that are documenting these events every month. Faisal, Abdurrahman, and Sarah. Our volunteers this month are Abir, Malak, Maha, Layal, and Lina. So thank you to them as well. This last month we introduced something called Audience Take the Stage, and we're going to be reminding you of it today. So every January we're going to be launching this initiative called Audience Takes the Stage, where you guys are going to be able to be our speakers. Every speaker is going to get a 7-minute slot. And the theme for this January is going to be Roots. We put together a couple of keywords to help you get inspired if you want to speak. Registration is still open, and you can find it on our Instagram page or on the Creative Mornings website. Last but not least, the 30-second pitch is a chance we give you to pitch an idea at the end of the talk. It can be an idea you want to share or something you need help with. You get 30 seconds to address everyone here. We love our global partners. Thank you to MailChimp, WordPress, and our local partners Careem, Nestle Fitness, Nescafe Arabia, OptiFast, and Stickerat, AG Evergreen Flowers, and of course Vibes Office for hosting us for the second time. Brew 92 Cafe is in the room over there. If you've missed it, go get coffee. And Muhtawais. So November's theme is Lost. We've been talking about it on our social media pages. If you're not following us, you should be. Please help us on social media by using these hashtags, CMLost or CMRUH. We'll be reading and retweeting and favoriting all morning. Our host this month is Lara. Clearly from that round of applause, she needs no introduction. So let's welcome Lara.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here, and thank you for the Creative Mornings team. This wouldn't have been possible without you. The theme for this month is Lost, and it's quite difficult, I think, to speak about loss. But there comes a time when you actually have to step up and do it so that not only you can benefit, but society as well. And they say that when a woman tells the truth about her life, she splits the world open. And I think that's what I've been doing ever since I was a child. In grade 3, I drew this picture and it says, "I have chipped away my shell and now I am pushing myself out." This was in grade 3, and I think that has been my mindset ever since I was a child. Next. Here? Okay. So November of last year was quite, a challenging month for me because it's the one that presented me with a dream first and then a nightmare. And my dream was actually to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and this was my training schedule. So the first 4 weeks, you can see done, stars, absolutely smashed it, تحمست شوي. And then you can see this part right here says injury and recovery. And so at the end of the 4th week, I attempt, of course, to walk 20 kilometers with 8 kgs on my back. And at the end of that day, I got injured. And I went to the doctor and I was, frustrated because I've been working so hard. I've been going to my sister's house, swimming at night, and she thinks I'm crazy and it's raining and it's cold, but I'm trying to just pretend that it's, Mount Kilimanjaro. And so he tells me, you know what? You can, cover 6 sessions and then you can get back to training and you can do it, Lara, you can do it. So my doctor was actually telling me that I can do it. And those people who tell you that you can do it when it's impossible, those are the people, I think, why life is pretty good. Before that, I wore a necklace called, with the word courage on it. And at the same time I attempted to climb the mountain, my best friend was going through breast cancer. And so Lejane's courage in taking on breast cancer, and I was observing that, actually gave me the strength to take on a different kind of challenge. And this is what Nelson Mandela calls the multiplication of courage. So you see someone who takes on life, the battle of her life, in an incredible manner. And then you say, okay, how can I learn from that courage? How can I take the courage that I need to carry on my difficult task? And you see that later on, I eventually, when I complete my mission, I give this to someone else, so keep that in mind. I learned multiple things on the mountain. The first was that everything is connected. The way the water connected to the food to fuel my voice. The way my legs were walking side by side with my willpower to stand against the greatest freestanding mountain in the world. Now imagine this. We have all known a great loneliness inside of us, where you feel like the only one who's with you is God. And that's exactly the moment I experienced that kind of feeling. I was right here and I was alone. I was calling out the porter's name, but he couldn't hear me. And so I was thinking, oh my God, I know this feeling of being alone and with God, with my humility. And I attempt to find my colleagues, and they're probably 100 meters away from me, and I find them. This was exactly 1 year ago, November 23, 2018. Imagine this, it's 6 a.m. and you're 5,500 meters above sea level. You don't know whether to focus on breathing 50% oxygen or actually looking around you and just looking at the clouds and focusing on the best sunrise of your life. And I think this is a life lesson, because there are times in your life where you're dying emotionally and you forget to look around you. You forget that you have immeasurable blessings to be thankful for. And so I reach a place of only those who are disciplined, are strong-willed. My body's tired, I'm exhausted, but my heart is strong. It's a lesson for life. And so 1 year ago, I slammed the board of this beautiful mountain, and of course I expect to cry and do all kinds of things, but no, I'm tired. I'm gonna take this picture, this pretty picture right here. And I was hugging the porter, who I kept telling him, don't leave me. Don't leave me, don't give up on me. That's exactly what I kept on saying. And eventually he tells me, you know, Lara, I have never seen a woman with your kind of pain, with your symptoms, make it to the top. And I remember my necklace, the courage necklace, and I say, Moses, do you have a daughter? And he says, yes, I do. She's quite young, probably in her, beginning of teen years. And I say, give her my necklace of courage and tell her to remember my story. Tell her of me and my story. So that even when life presents her with pain, she can make it to the top. You probably spend like 8 hours walking on a mountain, so you better make conversation or it's gonna be boring as hell. And so Tito right here was the one who would carry my backpack because of my back injury, and he wouldn't leave me as well. And I asked him about his dreams. I wanted to see how interconnected we were. And he says, my first dream is to take care of my children. Lara, I carry backpacks on a mountain so my children don't have to. And I think that's beautiful. I think every parent here wishes the greatest thing possible for their children. And then the second dream was that he could take care of his family so well that eventually he can extend that care to his community. And these are quite maybe typical, but then the third one surprised me. He said, I wish to forgive those who it's very impossible to forgive them. To let go of a resentful heart. And I said, honestly, that's hard. That's hard. There are some people that I try to forgive, but it's hard. And he says, yeah, I know, and that's why it's a dream. And, I was texting one of the porters, and I was telling him how I was going to talk about them and their story, and he said, Lara, don't forget that this is our life. Remember your pain. Remember sleeping on the ground in the cold. Remember that. And he said, Lara, you're one of those people that I remember and I will never forget and I cannot even describe. And so that's who you become when you pay attention to people, to their lives. You become someone who is indescribable. Now, November 26, 2018. I come back to Saudi, 3 a.m. I feel like I'm gonna sleep for the next 3 weeks after what I've done. And I sit with my family for dinner and I tell Faisal, my brother, come, I wanna show you my pictures, my videos. And we're sitting with the family and then my father says, no, wait. There's something that I have to tell you. Okay, fine. We sit and he says, the stomach ache that I've been having in the past few months, we actually figured out that it was pancreatic cancer stage 4. And I have this incredible mindset. I was between clouds. I was in another world. It took me 5 minutes and then I broke down. I get up and my mom rushes to hug me and my world changes. One day, you're climbing a mountain and achieving your dream, and the next day you're rock bottom. Literally rock bottom. What are you gonna do when that happens? Because life will test you. And so a few days after that, I fly out with my parents and I decide to attend the first chemo session. Next. Okay. So this was the first chemo session. Anything above a 38-degree temperature for cancer patients, and you directly have to go to the ER. So around 8 p.m., 9 p.m., my mother and I take my father to the ER, and we have a Kit Kat because we're starving. And I swear to you, that in the middle of that, my father was dancing. He was dancing in the ER. Who does that? Who does that except a man who mocks life? That his larger-than-life personality couldn't be limited by an emergency room. And it wasn't all rainbows and butterflies, obviously. 2 curtains away from here, there was an old man, and it seems like he was losing his life, and so his grandchildren were making tashahhud with him, and I'm hearing this, and it's disturbing me. And my father notices, and he says, "Lara, come here." He takes my hand, and he says, "I'm so sorry. You have to see this. You're so young." And I say, "No. لا. واجب. طبعا, it's my responsibility to be here. It is my responsibility to be here." And I just think how lucky I am to be a 22-year-old facing this and not a child, because I've seen children who are cancer patients and are in this and they see this. And I realized, and my father, when he used to see the children, he used to say, "I'm 60, I've lived my life." But what have they done? Perspective. You need to have perspective. Now, if I could describe the next couple of weeks from that period, it would be 2 words. Anticipatory grief. My life felt like it was on pause. All I had was this moment. I knew my father had 6 to 12 months to live, and I would wake up every day and say, "Is this the day that I'm going to lose my father?" And there was a special moment in the cancer center. You know, we spent New Year's at the hospital. So I cried my way into the New Year. And then we spent Eid at the hospital. And so I'd like to read something I wrote on June 7th. And I'd like for you to imagine what it was like for me then. Dawn, 5 a.m. and the sound of takbir. Calm sounds hovering over a scary situation as if for protection. My father shivering, and I catch my mother in a moment of sadness where her eyes want to cry to me, but she can't, so she holds it together as she always does, as mothers always do. You never expect an ambulance to visit your home, it's always other people. You stare at the car symbolic of chaos and pray for the people traumatized by it. Except this time, it is your home, and you're praying for your father. He rides the ambulance and heads to the hospital. He runs a couple of tests. Blood tests are fine, but we need to wait 3 days to discover the root cause behind his fever. There was a special moment at the cancer center where my siblings and I stood by him outside. It felt like a calm moment warmed by sunshine. The kind of moment you pause in and think, "I'm going to remember this one. It's making me feel countless of things." You know, life is made up of delicate moments. And if I were to label this one across the timeline of my life, it would be bold, colored in green, the color of nature and life. We stood outside and surrendered to nature, to God. After 5 hours at the hospital, we came back and slept till 6 p.m. In between, I had a Lebanese sandwich for Eid. Don't be sad about my typical meal on a non-typical day. It was still a day of celebration indeed, because I still had my father. He gave me 50 JDs as a idea, and that sparks my sorrow reserve. What was it for? Is it a memory because he's doubtful of the time he has left? Is it an act of kindness because it's his way of saying he loves us and he will always be our source of protection? I don't know. All I know is this: I got 50 JDs from my baba, which will serve as an antique in my house one day. And I had a Lebanese sandwich for Eid. Thank you. June 26. In the course of one day, the adult human heart will beat 86,000 times. In 1 year, 31 million times. Even the heart of a little baby that's 42 days will pulsate more than 6 million times before its final beating heart stops. We're sitting outside with my father and he says he'd like to go upstairs. So my mother attempts to help him, but he says no, let Lara. And so I take him up the stairs and I stay step by step, because that's what I used to tell myself in Kilimanjaro. I didn't think about the 3 million steps I had. I would say step by step, good job, Dad, good job, you're doing a good job. And so we arrive to the 3rd floor and his heart attack starts. Fast forward to the hospital. I'm giving him 7 pills, 3 aspirin, 4 Plavix, and some water. I would put it on the little cap so that I would make sure I'm not giving him too much water. And that ended up being the last cup of water he would ever drink on earth. And so there was a moment where it was just him and I could notice his pain. I see him in pain. What on earth do you say to your loved ones when they're slowly losing their lives in front of you? So I end up saying the words he has told me all my life. I say, Baba, tawakkal. Depend on God. You have been telling me that all of my life. And now, it's your turn. An hour later and we're in the isolation room and I'm holding my mom from the back and we're exchanging the strength needed to bear this moment and I say, Mama, are you sure you want to see this? And I'm thinking in my head, I'm ready, I've memorized the signs of death, I cannot feel my legs, but I'm here. And so I see everything happening and in my head it's like, check, this should happen, yes, check, it's happening. I wait for the doctor to say it. He says it. Allah yarhamu. 86,000 heartbeats in one day. To none. Grief feels like being lost at sea. You have no connection to anything. The few weeks later, I start to lose weight. And people would come to my house and say, Lara, you look so good. You lost weight. And I'm saying, yeah, it's normal with grief. And then they say, no, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, you look good. And I am enraged about how people can be so insensitive about my inability to eat out of my grief. As if it is a privilege not to eat out of sadness. As if. I didn't lose weight. I lost the ocean from my skin when it poured from my eyes. I lost sleep. I lost lilies, the last flowers that I got him before I used them in his funeral the next day. I lost the first man that should have been standing by me on my wedding day. I lost my backbone, ظهري انكسر. I lost his heart rate. So don't tell me it's weight that I lost. I lost my father. The only weight that I lost is the weight of my heart when it ripped out of my chest. If I could summarize the main message of my story, it would be in the words of Farah Bitar. And she says in one of her passages, she says, he didn't die, he only left first. My father would always say, we are time, we are time. And he was right. His time was 60 years. And then he left. And I'm leaving. And you're leaving. So pain is part of life, but we are here to live the complete human experience of pain. Right, there is pain, but there is also love and kindness and empathy and hope. This is the battle of your life. This is your fate. How can you even think that you wouldn't be ready to take on what is written specifically for you? My mother always told me that I have a choice in life. I can either be the victim, I can either stay in bed and cry. I have done that. I have done that for 2 months, wasn't doing anything. Or you stand up and you try to take on what life throws at you. There are many people, you know, who have the homes, they have the cars, they have the children, the health, but their mindset makes them feel as if they are starved, they are hungry all the time. Their victimization doesn't even allow them to realize that they have a choice in life. And so when life hits you and you're bombarded, stand. Stand. Your story isn't over yet. Our loved ones have left us, right? But they would want us to carry on the legacy and stand. Stand for the battle of your life. We are here for the complete human experience. 2 months, I told you I was still in bed, you know, I wasn't doing well. And I decided to get back to work. And my cousin Dina says, why don't you make the best year out of the worst possible thing that has happened to you? And I take that into consideration. I go to work again. I start to wear white again. Although I'm not ready, but I'm not the kind of woman to wait until I'm ready. Remember? And so I launched Life Talks, and I start to publish my writing and people's writing. And a friend of mine from the States who's a doctor, he says, Lara, you know, I've read these words, and I hope you don't mind, but I kept them as my wallpaper. Because those words made me cry, and I can't even imagine losing my family. So that's what he's telling me, that he cannot even imagine losing his family because they made him the man that he is. And so he says, you know, Lara, I've kept this so that I'm reminded that you created something beautiful out of something that's horrible by helping others. And he's like, I hope you don't mind, but I have patience, and when they're having bad days, I tell them a friend of mine said this. Yes, we might have lost them physically, but never spiritually. We can never forget what they taught us. It's our responsibility to carry the lessons and love forward for those who need it now. And I'm just in awe about the power of words. And a second story comes along, and a friend of mine has a colleague who just gave birth to a baby, and at the same time his father was diagnosed with cancer. So this man has a child coming into the world, and he's, you know, struggling with his father. And they're struggling financially, and he says, you know, Lara, because of your story, we gathered money and we paid for the man's surgery. And alhamdulillah, it was successful, and now the tumor is benign. Your courage and sharing your story helped and cure someone else. And I'm just thinking about how everything is connected, about the power of words, about the multiplication of courage, how it all comes into the same story. How this is God's work. It's not me. It's God. It is God's work. And so I'm trying to extract the lessons from everything that has happened to me, and I remember my father. There were 6 major lessons from 22 years of life talks. The first one, enjoy life. Life is short. Life is short. You know, some of us here, we wait to care more often. We wait to text that person or tell them we love them or get a gift because that person didn't get us a gift or something like that. But the challenge of death is that it teaches you not to wait. And so what are we waiting for? At the beginning of life, we think we have all the time in the world, and then when the end of life comes, we think, I wish I had more time. So pay attention to the people that you love. Tell them you love them. The second one is smile and trust yourself. This is something my father has always told me, and these are the words that I was telling myself in the room right before I came up, because this needed courage. And maybe all I had to do was smile and trust myself. When he passed away, I would escape to the mall, and I would just walk, and there was this one shop where I would always visit. And you know, I'm broken, but I'm smiling to the lady. And she says, you know, your face, it reminds me like one of those vacation pictures with the word relax on them. And I think that is the most beautiful compliment I've ever received in my life. But I was broken. I wasn't sleeping, and all I was doing was smiling, and she says this. The power of a smile. Number 3, you are responsible for your success. Injahi lahalik. He used to tell me, if your partner does not add value to your life, then leave. Injahi lahalik. Depend on yourself, Lara. Depend on yourself. And I think so many people need to listen to that, need to hear that, because not everyone says it. So here I am, saying it. Number 4, beauty is not a measure of your worth. When I was 16, my father asked me an embarrassing question. He said, Lara, if you didn't think you were pretty, would you have the same confidence? وأنا اتلبكت. Said no, I wouldn't. And I got embarrassed, and all he gave me was a disappointed smile. And that's when I knew that I should work on character. Character lasts. But looks, give us a few years, we'll be all chilling. The beauty should come from within. Number 5, do good and forget about it. Of course, number 6, live the kind of life that God would be pleased with. Tawakkali, Lara. Tawakkali. Now I have a video that I want to show you, so if you didn't cry yet, maybe you can cry now. 1 second. Is it working? Oh, wait. Let's pause this. Yeah. Play it from the start. High volume, please. You want to minimize it? I mean, it's not the same one, huh? It's not the same Yes, this one.
You taught me the courage
I am an important person.
Sam.
Oh, funny.
Happy, she's duplicated. Remember?
Yeah.
Sam.
Be happy and healthy. Okay. 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 Love yourself. Love your God. And love life. My parents have taught me that I am enough. A legacy is the act of planting seeds that you never get to see. And so my father spoke for years and I listened. Now the time has come for me to speak, knowing he's listening. Thank you.
So now is the time for questions. If anyone has any, please raise your hand. No questions?
I'm not gonna ask. أنا فرح.
Hi.
You're the most powerful person I've ever met.
Thank you.
I met you online. I don't even know you. And I can't stop crying. I'm very nervous. I knew you were gonna make it. You're so beautiful inside out.
Thank you.
Can I come and hug you?
Yes. You very much can. She's the woman who said he didn't die, he only left first. She's the writer. So, here we go. Any other questions?
Yeah. I'm Saleh Al-Omari.
Hi, Saleh.
Impressive story. Happy mixed with sad endings. You're a brave woman and
Thank
you've
you.
done a lot. But do you have any active work to actually combat or prevent cancer from happening to other people, or is it just an emotional message you want to deliver to us so we, get emotional with you? Because
Yeah.
almost all of us have a sad story with us.
Of course.
I lost my father. My wife lost her father as well acutely, and her little
Sorry to hear that.
sister. And
Yeah.
your story is very well done, but I can't help but to
Ask.
not only get just the sad story eventually.
Right.
I don't feel any active work that you
Right.
did. The only thing you mentioned is where you funded surgery for one of your friend's fathers.
Right.
So if you could elaborate on that. What's your active contribution to
Okay.
not let this happen to other people? Thank you.
Right. So cancer is something that's very complicated, right? And I think my story has it's been almost 4 months and a bit. So it's very recent. So I'm still in the middle of grief. And I think each one of us, we grieve in different ways. And my natural way has come out to come and speak about it because I think our culture craves a conversation about loss because nobody comes up and talks about it, but we all share it, like you said. And so the active part is maybe doing what I could do in terms of launching a page where I talk about these kind of topics, share stories with other people, see what we can do, but it's developing slowly. So I do not have a solution for cancer, and I'm wondering if you have any initiatives maybe that you have worked upon, or yeah. That's my question to you.
Well, I'm a doctor. I work in education specialty hospital.
Okay.
I try to contribute to the kids.
So the daily job that you do, absolutely. So you feel like each person can try their best to do what they can, right? Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Hello. Hi. My name is Shog Amr al-Barjas.
Hi, Shog.
I lost my father this year in the last weekend of March. And it was a sudden death.
Okay.
My answer or my comment can also answer your question, Saleh.
Yeah.
I started going to psychotherapy.
Okay.
A month after he passed away,
All right.
every week.
Okay.
So for 6 months or 7 months.
Okay.
It was really helpful because he died suddenly and I'm still in denial.
Bravo.
I dreamt
Bravo.
of him today, actually.
Bravo. You were meant to be here. You were meant to be here with me.
And another thing that helped is reading about other
Yes.
people's experiences.
Absolutely.
So one of the things was option B, a book
Yes,
written by
Sheryl Sandberg.
because
Yes.
she lost her husband suddenly
Right.
in a heart attack, which is
Right.
the same way I lost my father. And I kind of feel responsible for my family because I'm the eldest, so I kind of relate to her as a mother.
You're amazing.
Other thing is that reading online
Yes.
about grief and what do people usually feel and experience.
Of
So
course.
I can give myself the validation that no one can ever give to me.
Absolutely.
Because everyone expects you to move on.
صح.
And it's not something you move on.
Absolutely.
You move through the pain.
Right. You
And not
move
through-
with.
Because
Carry it with
he's
you.
your father. I mean, you can't.
سندك. صح؟
Exactly. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
it's still work in progress, and I can literally see the progress that I have made, and it makes me feel satisfied.
Yes.
I have like the meltdowns every now and then,
Of course,
and,
we all
and
do.
grief actually feels like a roller coaster.
Yes.
Sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down, and it's really unexpected.
Absolutely.
So just being aware and reading more about it gives you the
Peace.
validation and the peace that you need.
Yes. I'm
You
so
feel
proud of
normal
you.
about it because it's not something we usually talk about, and I
course.
really applaud you for
Thank
bringing
you.
that up.
Thank you.
So thank you so
I'm
much.
so proud of you. So proud of you.
Do you have any more questions?
Hello, my name is Dima.
Hi, Dima.
I also lost my mother 2 years ago, and it was also very sudden, a sudden death. I had a lot of problems talking about it.
Okay.
A year after, I couldn't even I used to act like I was okay, like everything was fine.
Everything was
I was
normal.
okay. Everything
Yeah.
was normal. Like everyone
Right.
used to talk to me, are you okay? Are you fine?
Yeah.
I used to say it's fine, I'm okay. And I used to remember just crying at night,
Yes.
every single day.
Yes.
Not telling anyone that I was hurting every day.
Yes.
So it's been for a year. And then I realized how much that was painful to me, how much that was kind of it was impacting me negatively every single day.
Okay.
That I go to my room, not telling any single one of my family.
Not sleeping.
Not sleeping, not doing anything. So I realized that I needed to communicate that to other people, that I
Yes.
needed to share
Yes.
how I'm feeling. And I guess my advice to anyone who lost someone in their lives
Okay.
is to not bottle up the pain and not just stay alone every single day bottling up the pain.
Get out
And
there, yeah. Get out there. Talk
Get out
about
there,
it.
talk about
Take
it.
care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. So
Yes.
that's my recommendation to everyone, and I want to thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you,
And for
Dima.
being such a courageous person and going through the pain that you went through.
Thank you. We share the same pain.
صباح الخير.
صباح النور.
كيفك لولو؟
الحمد لله.
I know Lulu from university. I met her. She's actually one of my sister's closest friends, and ever since I met her, she's been motivated, and she just wants to change something in this world. And I've never met عمه الله يرحمه. But I feel like I know him من قد ما لارا بتحكي عنه. And I'm very sorry for your loss, الله يرحمه. And I have a question for you, for Dima, for Shok, and for anyone who has lost someone so close to them. And I've never lost someone who's that close to me.
Okay.
But 7 years ago, my best friend's dad passed away. He was electrocuted. It was sudden. And I was there at the front line to help her. I was a sophomore.
Okay.
At the start of this month, my other friend lost her father, and she's very close to me. It was also sudden. And these were the closest people to me that ever experienced loss in this way.
Yes.
And I was there to help them go through it. And
That's brave.
Yeah,
That's brave.
It's really, my question is, it's not really brave. I'm not really trying to show that I did something amazing. No, I feel so bitter. I didn't lose them, and I could see their pain. And I wonder every day I leave her house and I'm in the cab, I'm crying, and I'm like, this life is so unfair and so ugly.
Yes.
And we tell them to, it's fine, it'll get better. فيش خلقك, let it all out.
Yes.
But then it's just all talk. No, she just lost her father. And that day, I left home and my mom was like, come to this cafe, we're sitting there, I know your dad. And I'm like, okay, sure. And then she's like, your cousins are also there, come.
Okay.
And I'm like, no, I'm not in the mood to see anyone. I want to go home.
Okay.
Then I think, what if I don't go? And my father dies فجأة, or my mom, something happens to her.
Yeah.
And so I go, and I see my dad walking towards me, and I just break down because I was bitter. I'm standing there and I'm trying to be there for my friend. But then again, I will move on. And maybe I was partying last night in, where were we? What's it called? The season, the Raya season.
The season, yeah.
But every time I think about this, it makes me feel like, طيب, what is life? I'm bitter because I'm gonna move on. But you lost your dad. You guys lost your father. My best friends lost their father. I move on, but you feel stuck. How's that fair? And how are you not bitter? Because I'm bitter.
Bitter in what sense? Define bitter.
I'm
for
bitter
me.
at the world. You stand with your friends and you're there for them. But then you move on and you feel like you've done something great and I was there for my friends.
Yeah.
But then again, you move forward or they're stuck. So
Yeah.
how are you not bitter at the world, at the people? How do you not get pissed every time asks you kifek? Of course I'm not good.
Of course I'm not good. Yeah.
So how do you move
How
through
do I
that?
look through that? So I think the first, you know me, Noor, and I think I've always been a spiritual person, right? And the way I look at it is that this doesn't only happen to me, like you said, and people who bravely shared their stories today. It happens to everyone. There are some people here who have lost their children, their siblings, their parents. It happens to everyone. And so if this is what life is, how am I gonna react? And I've been bitter, and some days I am bitter. It's really not all constant. But I look at it and I'm like, this is the game of life. I have freedom in the way I choose. Maybe my choices are limited, but I am free to choose which option to go with. And I've been bitter. I've been there. But do I want to stay bitter? And at the same time, I've been there in your position where my best friends have lost their family members and I was there at the hospital. This was a few years back. And then today, I'm standing here and it has happened to me. So that's the cycle of life. And so, maybe you should make peace with it. Try to make peace with it because it happens to everyone. And so, Will Smith says love is help. We're all having a difficult time. And so thank you for sharing that.
Can I just add to this?
Yeah.
You said that it was all talk when you felt you were helping people. It's not. Because Lara was there for me when I lost my grandmother.
For a mic?
So she was talking about
Go for it. Okay.
You are underestimating the power you have when you're there for your people, the people you're helping.
I agree. I agree. I agree. You're underestimating your power when you do that, because it's difficult to stand by your best friends and you're feeling what they're feeling. And that's why when you go back home, you're like, I look at my father and I break down. You're feeling it. It's powerful to be there by their sides. It's powerful. I'm telling you, you're making a difference. I'm here because of the love that I've received in the past 4 or 5 months. Otherwise, I'm in bed. Ask my mother.
One last question.
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you.
I just want to read the tribute I have, if you allow me.
Of course.
For Lara Bassam.
Of course.
When I heard the news, Lara is considered one of my best friends, and the family is very close to my heart. And I just want to iterate some of the things that, as we all grieve, we want something concrete to tap our thoughts or words on. And these were my words to Lara. What we once enjoyed and deeply loved, we can never lose. For what we love deeply, it becomes part of us. To one special lady, who is a symbol of bravery and a sign of excellence. Although we met not too long ago, you synced in my heart since day one. It's rare to meet someone this genuine, dynamic, down-to-earth, yet so powerful. Someone who's ready to conquer on and take up new challenges one by one. Life is a series of lessons, my friend, full of hellos and goodbyes. And verily with hardship comes ease. Sometimes we need to go through the struggle to appreciate what we have. This is God with His infinite wisdom, and this is all plotted down. My dearest Lara, I salute your father who truly raised a warrior and gifted the world and me one beautiful soul. You've taught me so much and I've yet to learn a lot from you. I cannot describe how proud I am of you and who you'll be in the future. They say imperfection is inexistent, but I've yet to see your not so perfect side. No matter how many bumps you'll stumble upon, your faith in Allah and strength will remain intact, inshallah. Amu Bassam, although we've never met, I'm sure you're a wonderful father and a meticulous member of your household. I'm sure you're cheerful, friendly, inspirational, and loved by your community. My gratitude is to you is infinite for blessing me and the world, one beautiful soul and a little sister. May you go to a heavenly home, may your name be remembered with smiles, and may we reunite all one day in heaven. To end this, I know Mahmoud Darwish said, أحسنوا لمن تحبون فأن الشوق بعد الموت لا يطاق, and this has been in my mind ever since. And it's so true, it's so short, but really we should appreciate all our loved ones because الشوق بعد الموت لا يطاق. Thank you so much for your
So we have ribbons here. You know, my father's case was pancreatic cancer, so if you would like to take them there, right here. All right, and thank you for waking up. And Tawfiq has one question. Tawfiq here. Tawfiq always has a question. Okay, last question. Go.
Thank you so much for being so courageous and appearing in front of all of us within 4 months.
Thank you.
Thank
you for noticing that.
And really, your energy is vibrant, and everybody could feel it here. I lost my uncle in 2005, and I think only today I accepted that that is a big loss, and it was affecting me. That I did not speak about it. My fear doesn't come from that loss. My fear comes since 2005.
Yeah.
I've been into the anticipating. The trauma of losing my dad because he's been also sick with the same symptoms. Seeing him every day and what you were mentioning when you go back and see your dad now with huge stress tolerance, and because I'm the eldest in the family, you shouldn't be seeing that. because
Okay.
that's how he raised us. Like he never used to show these emotions. But growing up and going through a lot of change, a lot of growth,
Yeah.
I want to say something to all the men here.
Okay.
ابكي لأنك أنت رجال.
أيوة.
Because we're taught that don't cry because you're a man, and that suppressed a lot of the emotion. That helped a lot of men to be great, actually.
Absolutely.
Because there's so much beautiful emotion in so many of the humans around us.
Right.
And we're holding it because we think that's strength. And I'm telling you that wasn't strength.
Right.
The moment I decided to start sharing and letting go of so many things, first of what you let go
Yeah.
is thinking that not sharing is strength. Not showing weakness is strength.
Right.
Actually, the moment you come and step up and step out and let people know what you've been through, I think that is the most bravest thing you could do.
Absolutely.
And you're gonna liberate others. There are others out there sitting, waiting, weeping, whining maybe, who
Yeah.
don't know how to come out of whatever challenges they're having. You standing in front of everyone after 4 months, I really applaud you for that. That is bravery.
Thank you.
We're done. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. الوالدة لو سمحتوا الوالدة.
Hi, I'm Lara's mom, and Farah and Faisal, my son-in-law. Thank you all for coming today. I lost my husband, and it was very difficult. But what I want to say here is that it's very important I don't know what are the names, but it's very important that when you lose someone, don't close the room on yourself and keep on crying alone. You have to sit with your daughters or your son or with your friends and talk about it and cry in front of them. It's okay. Don't go away and cry alone. Don't do this to yourself. You have to share your grief with other people. And it's okay that the grief, if the grief is longer than what other people think, but
Yes.
it's okay. Cry as much as you want and grieve as much as you want, because this is your right. You lost someone that you really loved and that used to encourage you all the time and encourage his kids. He was a loving father, so it's not easy for me or for his kids to cry only few weeks. So it's okay. And for the lady that said that if you see other people losing their beloved ones, they would sit and they would cry. Don't do this to yourself. Don't do this to yourself. Life is not like this. Life tells you that you have to keep on going. As Bassam taught us all, he used to be a very loving and let me say optimistic man. So keep this on yourself. You have to have always the smile. You have to have always the hope in life, because as Lara said, life is too short. You cannot just keep on waiting until you have the job, until you have the money, until you have the husband or the wife, and to be happy. Don't wait for that. Please, continue on life, and we have to continue as well, even though we cry for Bassam every single day. Thank you so much.
We have a small gift from the Creative Mornings team for Lara and her amazing, amazing, amazing speech. It's an amazing.